Hi, I'm Casey Truby talking about real life examples of how you can get a business that generates income, and many times with very little money down. I did my first one when I was 16 years old. I used to drive my old truck into town to an auto detail shop because I loved the old boys that worked there. They were always telling me dirty jokes and having a lot of fun working all day. And I wanted in on that. I wanted to own a business. It seemed like a blast to sit around and joke all day and make money at the same time. So I went to my bookkeeping teacher in high school. He was kind of a radical character. Asked him what's it take to start a business, and he gives me a checklist. There's over 100 things that you've got to do to get a company started from scratch, and he adds all that to all that. He says, by the way, you're 16, you can't sign contracts, so I don't know how you're ever going to go in business. Well, I was down there at the auto detail shop talking to the old boys a few weeks later, and the owner says, I've got to close this place because my son got hurt in Vietnam. He's wounded real bad. He's going to be at the St. Louis Veterans Hospital for months and months. I'm going to go down there and help him recover. My sister lives there. I don't think I'm ever going to come back. And then he looks up and says, somebody gave me $1,000. I'd just give him this shop because I was curious about what he was going to do with the business. I'm looking at him going, well, I don't have $1,000, but I'd give you a lien against my three 4-H calves that are coming up for sale at the county fair. Well, neither of us knew what a lien was realistically or how to do it, so I just gave him a post-dated check for August 24th, the day after the sale was going to happen. And that Friday, I owned an auto detail shop. I just took it over. Lock, stock, and barrel, walked in. We didn't tell anybody. It was just my business. He signed over the company checking account, and that was good enough. So the guys that work there are excited. They're not going to lose their job. And they looked at me and said, the one thing we do need you to do is go get some more business. We can wash all the cars. You go get business. So I started making sales calls, something that the old owner would never do. And I started making sales calls on company accounts like real estate offices, insurance offices, even got a few set up at local car dealers. And all of a sudden, the sales doubled. It was so easy. I couldn't believe it. So what happened is I got the owner. I started to talk to him about taking a lien on my calves, but instead of doing all the paperwork, I just wrote him a post-dated check. Well, right away the company grows, so it's making $150 a week in profit. I take $50 out because, well, at 16 back in 1969, how much money do you need? And I left $100 in the company. Well, that was enough to cover the post-dated check when it came up 12 weeks later, and I didn't have to give him the cows. So it all worked out, and I got the company. But at 16, it was illegal for me to sign contracts. So how did I ever get this deal? Well, I just didn't tell anyone. I just walked in and became the new boss. The landlord didn't care. He got his rent checks, and I kept the insurance policy and the electric bill in their name, and all the other vendors, I just left them in the dark about who owned the company. And no one ever came around to check as long as they got their check. Then in September, something interesting happens. A guy comes in with this car, and it is a tricked out 67 Camaro. He had put a tilt front end on it, a big 409, positive traction rear end. He'd remodeled this thing from the ground up after buying it from the factory. Well, he comes back that night to pick it up, and I'm asking him about it because it's even got a fold-down bed. The back seat turns into a bed, and all I can think about is going to the drive-in with Betty Sue with that thing. And so I'm talking to him about his car, and he gets to talking about his son coming back from Vietnam, and there's no jobs in town for him. He's not going to be able to get a job, and he doesn't know what his kid's going to do out of high school, into Nam, coming home, and he's just going to be sitting around the house all day. So I just yelled out, hey, mister, why don't we just trade? I'll give you my company for that car. And so I got the owner, I got this guy to take the car, and at 16, I was able to take Betty Sue to the drive-in movie in the hottest car ever. So my $1,000 post-dated check got cleared by making the payments out of cash flow. I saved the money out of the cash flow to do it, and I was able to get $50 a week out of it. But the best thing of all is that in September, I was able to take this car home. Now, I've been doing this kind of thing
over and over for the last 44 years. I've been in the accounting business and market consulting business, but on the side, we've done 21 of these kind of deals. They're fun to do. As a matter of fact, today my wife and I do it full time, where we look for businesses and then get them cleaned up, make them work, and then we go out and start buying the competitors. And we'd love to show you how we do it. We do a little club that meets once a week, and it's only 27 bucks a month, but for once a week we meet on a teleconference. We go over the 68 steps that are involved in buying a business, and then 72 steps for turning it around. If you'd like to join us and check it out, you can drop out anytime. There's no contract or anything. Just click on the Join Us button at the top of the screen, and we'll show you every week exactly how we've done 21 deals that got us into business, and once in a while even got us into a great car. Okay, thank you.